trying to do some really interesting things using technology, pursuits at the city to help staffing ratios. Sounds like you guys are pursuing similar things. So I think there's always these unique opportunities to brand the city. So not a discussion for today, but maybe down the road we can talk about that. When I see the carts, the actual carts, those are great branding opportunities for the city to know that they have kind of that they are in the city, that we're doing some neat things and so separates us a little bit away from some of the other municipalities. Just opportunities to really let folks know that they're in Mulberry and we are actively trying to deliver a service that matters to them.
Sure.
Any other questions? Mr. Mark, my only question is, so you said that the Republic already services, you said about 10,000 of our 12,000 households?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So really the only people that would experience a change would be those 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I've got. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Mark.
You're very welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so we have this available. We'll get to y'all pretty soon. I think this is one of those things where staff, had to take a look at, like, all 4 proposals were, to be honest with you, fantastic. Right? This wasn't an easy decision on staff. All models were great when it came to the proposals that we got. It's just evaluating a whole bunch of things, but we have that listed. We're getting ready to release that. So, if y'all have any questions for me, I request that council bless myself and the city attorney to start negotiating with Republic.
Couple questions.
Sure. Go ahead.
What was the variance on, just percent wise, I don't need numbers, but what was from the lowest to the highest total landed cost variance wise across the 4 respondents?
Across the 4 respondents, when you're looking at like total cost per household, talking about, I think it broke down to $20 versus $25, right? Per month, right?
So low, high, that was the range.
Yeah, that's really the we're talking about. The difference is that when you start talking and factoring in the 6% of the city that already have a senior exemption, right, that drops Republic's price all the way down to $18 for those 6%. So that changes the averages.
Yeah.
When we look at the other outside factors, right, because price is not the only thing that's really truly evaluated, it's a heavier end of it. It's not even the franchisee fee, it's logistical, it's how we're taking over the service on January 1. What does that put us at when, that's the busiest trash time of the year, right? Like at Christmas, when everybody's throwing out boxes, we have to figure out logistically how people are going to get new trash cans, how that whole system operates. Then it came to the customer service end. Then it came to logistical issues before we start to have like problems with their landfill being supposed. There were additional factors, again, that, I can outline here. The recycling program was pretty good. I personally still feel that we, need to discuss a portion of the franchisee fee that was varying amongst the portion, but we're not here on the city end, on the money issue part, right? Like the goal of staff taking over the service was not about, making money. The goal of this was, if there's an issue, we need a provider to do it, and then we need to be the liaison for the 40,000 people that live within the city limits. Like that is our objective when it comes to a service as intricate as trash pickup. We've seen the things that happen in New York when the trash that we picked up, right? Like those are the things that, and y'all have heard me say this, probably, right? City manager paranoia, right? Couple things that always worry me is, does the trash get picked up? What do we do when, somebody gets hurt? How do we handle citizen customer situations? And so, working out the FRP, I'm glad for our proposals and I'm thankful for everybody who submitted something, because that was like a little bit more of an undertaking than I realized on the RFP side. But I do believe that, us being able to work with the citizens and advocate for the citizens at a little bit more of a personal level than Gwinnett County can is important to us. So that's it. Like this was not a proposal to just, say, oh, we, got so much in a franchisee fee, as what do I do if someone calls up, we already have this in certain situations. What I do when someone calls City Hall and says, we're having an issue with our trash.
Yeah.
I can't say it's Gwinnett County's problem, because it's not Gwinnett County's problem, it's my problem.
I get, and I guess my question on the cost structure was less around the creative element of that back to the city and more about, like when you have a larger area, there's some network effects. So like, do we, as we shrink down the scale of the operation, so they may be servicing a larger contingency in unincorporated Gwinnett areas, and as we shrink down to smaller citizenry, is there some cost structure there that we don't know about, or it's fully captured there in what we're doing?
It's fully kept.
Got it.
Yeah, if I'm understanding your question right, this proposal was based upon like our area and our area alone.
Yeah. We don't need to get into it, but I just, wanted to make sure. So we could talk about it offline. There's some elements of cost there that get amortized over a broader area, right?
Yeah.
And so if you have a smaller area and you could potentially have higher cost, potentially a network effect.
Yeah.
Reduces it on a per average basis across a larger place. So I'm just trying to make sure we're not running into that scenario, right?
No,
'Cause it's
we're not. I mean, and the structure is still the same, right? Like for every household, it's still gonna be paid on your property tax bill.
Yeah.
That's what we did the last council meeting, was secure that agreement with Gwinnett County and the tax commission, right? So everybody will see it broken out on a monthly basis.
I guess.
Right, it's not amortized like it was beforehand because of the fact that, like, when it did that, that broke it up 5 contracts across the county.
Yeah.
Right, and then that's how those were managed. We've now, like, looked at it, taken the original price structure that was there with all the rest of the bids, which is why they submitted them the way that they were. And then that's why price was not the only factor or what our, in a business sense, return was either.
Sure.
It is how do we handle this service logistically?
I got it.
That played a larger role too.
Yeah, I got it. And it sounds like from what I, the variance wasn't significant. Everybody
Not
was
at all.
kind of in the group. That was,
I mean,
Fair
that's what,
question.
that was the hardest part,
Yeah.
right? Because, the 2 closest were already here,
sure.
right? Like, and that still goes back to logistics.
Yeah.
And you'll see that when we release the rankings.
What's good about it is that most of the people have it already. I have Republic and raise your hand. It's like, with that many residents already having it, the disturbance of something new won't be as great.
When you see when we look at the rankings, right? And again, like I'm being very general about it too, because I still need to get the rest of this information out to everyone, right? When you look at the rankings as a whole, it makes sense, right? The 2 closest were the highest too, because they already understand the area.
Quick question I had, and maybe this is for Mr. Martin instead, is, all the services are the same as what we've already got going at. It's like trash, recycle, the bulk item or the big bulk item, and then you pay extra for yard waste. Is it mirror exactly the existing services that you have? Okay.
None of that's changing.
And was that true for all the bids? All the bids had mirrored those?
Well, there's only one other vendor at a smaller rate, but it was very close, right? And then that was some of the other stuff too, right? Because we did ask for a little bit of their own style of submission, right? Just because, we looked at the proposal that we had, we took an existing RFP that we had, tried to modify it a little bit, to fit our own needs. And then, we just asked the vendors to submit and then took a look at and did an analysis on all 4 of them. So all 4 of them were really looked at like as truly separate projects, but it's like, what is in the best interest of where we're at and how we move forward?
Any other questions from the council? My only question is for the attorney. Are you comfortable with us go ahead and advising him? Okay. All right, then at this time, I'll entertain a motion for Mr. Palmer, the city manager and city attorney, to engage in negotiations with Republic, see what they can come to present back to the council. So anyone want to make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. I make a motion to authorize city manager and city attorney to enter into negotiations with Republic Services for the collection of residential trash and recycling services for the city of Mulberry.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Councilman Sullivan. Any other discussion about this topic? All right, hearing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, by a vote of 4, the, motion carries. All right, that will bring us to action item, KC, which is, I'm sorry, KB, thank you, sir, which is a City of Mulberry, infrastructure update by City Logic. All right, we'll turn it over to city manager on this one.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to why I fit this version versus the other one. So I don't know how many months ago we came to you all with a proposal to have city logistics do some AI grading on our roads, sidewalks, ADA ramps. We got that data back. I want to walk you through it, let you all know what's going on out here. I will say that this is great news. Okay. This is actually very good. We're in a lot better shape than we thought we would be. So regardless of how things happen, I have no concerns about our streets. Right. So next slide. So we'll go through the agenda about payment processes, PCI statistics, sidewalks, SDI, which is basically how we grade sidewalks, and then ADA ramp compliance, right? So next slide, please. When we went through this data, there's a total of 196.02. There are 2 segments that weren't really processed. We thought that'd be probably about a mile, but it's really 197. I'd be telling 198, right? Of centerline miles we have throughout the city. We also have a total in our network of what is that? Miles processed, total segments in the network. When we break them out, how we do the segments is from point to point, and that total to about 1,661. Next slide. So this is a little bit about how we break it down. It's the grading of where the concrete is. This is the grading of where the asphalt and those ranges. All the grades are from 0 to 100. And then you can see the rankings here. Complete failure, shutdown, really to group them together is 0 to about 40. You really start looking at things that we need to repair once we really hit under 80. Next slide. So we'll look at this in a trend. That's how we want to try, and it's based upon a segment. So after this analysis that was done, when we look at our 198 centerline miles, we have an overall score of 80 for our PCI, which means that all of our roads majority of our roads are in great to excellent condition. We do have a couple segments that we need to pay attention to because they are already close to failing rate. But most of our stuff, as far from an asphalt standpoint, is in really good shape. We do have a couple repairs that we're working with Gwinnett County on right now. And the way that we've worked that out through the as you all know, under SB 138, we have the SDS elections that we've taken with the county. Under that, through the rest of this SDS period, the county is maintaining our roads, but we're maintaining the stormwater system. So the way that we've done this is the county, since we didn't take element funds this year, the county is doing the road repairs for us right now. All right, so there are some segments that the county is looking at doing the repair, and if they see something that's related to stormwater while they're doing some patchwork, they are calling us, we're repairing the stormwater. So the stormwater update list that you saw, you should have seen a couple segments. I think it was about 4 or 5 of them right now, where you would see, DOT work or something like that. That's all related to stuff that Gwinnett County has called us, said, hey, we're doing a couple patches. This is where we're at. Next slide. So when we look at this, 64% of which is 128.85 miles are in good condition, 25% in great condition, 8% we only have about 1.82 miles are in, a poor shape. And those are in segments. Next slide. That's great, right? Because when we start looking at it, we don't have any real major issues. We got a couple of cracks, which is pretty standard. You got some alligator stuff, which usually means that whenever the asphalt was put down, It's kind of just what hopped up diesel whip, right? But overall, we have great conditions. Next slide. So most of our roads are fine. Some of the issues, they're compliant. Very few structural issues, so we're good there. Next slide. Now let's talk about sidewalks. All right, sidewalk wise, we've been saying, we had 233 miles. We have 232.88 miles to our actual. We broke that up into 2,264 segments, and then this is how we're going to start working with our sidewalk data, similar to how we did the PCI with pavement, right? We're doing an SCI for sidewalk. Next slide. These grades are slightly different. We'll look at cracks, how trees have been, bent the sidewalk over, and what that looks like, and then we'll start to develop a plan. We also have utilities that are in the way, and then we'll address those too. Next. So our overall SCI score is 82, right? So our infrastructure here looks great. We are currently working on our stormwater management plan, which will be the analysis for our MS4 reporting. We just got everything back and our NOI approved for stormwater from the EPD. And so now we're going through the process of creating the plan, getting them the plan, and then doing pretty much our system our infrastructure on top of the work that we've already been doing and the analysis of it. When you take a look at this, overwhelmingly, most of our sidewalks inside the city are in good to excellent condition. Next slide. We do have, some minor distresses, and we identify those as, a uplift from roots growing into it, starting to tilt to the and then having, just general issues from cracks or, just weathering, right? Those are things that we're going to put together a plan for, as well as ADA ramps, and we'll get to that in a second. And start to have those addressed. Next slide. Here's where staff is getting ready to spend a lot of time and focus, okay? Because when we take a look at our ADA ramps, that's the biggest neglect that is inside the city from this analysis. So across the city, we have about 2,335 ADA ramps. 177 of them are compliant, right? Now, there are a couple of missing ramps. There are, a good section that's not not compliant, but those are very easy fixes from what is not compliant versus what is. You see this in older sections of older cities and older counties, right? Like people who use the road all the time, standards change, things like that. And we'll talk about that. Next slide. We color coded it a little bit just to kind of give you a better idea, just trying to, right? So when we look at it, the majority of our issues, so 30% of our issues, really have to do with the fact that we don't have the technical warnings. That's the gold or yellow standard covered with the bumps at the end of the ADA ramp, right? So 30% of the work that we need to do to really be fully in compliant is just adding those. It's just going to all the ADA ramps. We're going to do an analysis. We're going to cost. We'll bring it back to you all, and then we'll have those detectable warnings added. The next section that we need to look at is our cross slopes and our running slopes. And we need to evaluate these with our vendor, because you're supposed to have cross slope, 5% running slope. Okay. Anything greater than that has the potential to be hazardous for someone who is in a wheelchair. The way that they do this study is that if you are a 0.1 decimal off, then you are a failed. So that means that, like, if our slope is not 2%, but 2.1%, it's a fail slope, right? That is not necessarily the way that 88 looks at it, but that's the way that we needed to do this study. So we're going to break that down to see what the true severity between them, and see what the running slope and cross slope are. The difference between the two is, like, you're not supposed to have more than a 5% running slope without. So a lot of times, if you see how sidewalk areas have switchbacks, right, they can't go down a hill more than 5% at a time without having a landing area. You go to the next one. So whenever you look at it, and there's some variations here too, right? If you have to go with the grade of the road when you do a sidewalk, you have to look at other outside factors line in the beginning, and then a tree kind of uprooted it. Then we start looking at, do we need to remove the tree? All of these things play a factor. So we're gonna do a deeper analysis into this, and see where we need to check on that, do a report, get these things fixed, and come up with a plan over the next 100 days to bring those things to apply. Next slide. A website that we are getting ready to make available, right? Doing the work to get this integrated into our GIS map and then do it by layers. But internally, these are all the other assets that we've taken note of that we can just have on the map readily available in case there's something that we need to partner with Gwinnett County on, like we have been doing with roads. So we can go ahead and pinpoint. We've done, we've already done the data transfer with Gwinnett County for storm